Hello, first from the web. My name is Scar. Today I have a positive video to share with you all. It is, however, a bit of a strange one. I admittedly don't spend a lot of time with politics or wars going on in the world as much as I'd sometimes like to. But due to the nature of this event, I feel it is important I go into the background of the Syrian war and just exactly what happened. That being said, this will be a fairly condensed version and is not in any way meant to be comprehensive. It is just important context for the video. This is the story of when Syrian refugees wound up at a furry convention. Stay tuned. The infamous Syrian war began after a power shift. After Hafez passed away, he was succeeded by his son Bashar al-Assad in 2000. This was the beginning of a dark age for Syria. With a lack of political freedom and corruption, it was only a matter of time before people began to rebel. Rebel is exactly what they did, with an uprising beginning after some peaceful pro-democratic demonstrations was turned into a bloodshed at the hand of Assad. This happened fairly recently in 2011. The last decade has been plunged in a deep civil war ever since. 400,000 citizens have been confirmed dead, with almost 200,000 declared missing in action. The deadliest peak started in mid-2012, but has slowly been dying off. And with the US recently withdrawing the last of their troops and the mess unresolved, it's hard to understand where the war is going. Syria has been devastated. Cities lie in ruin. Hundreds of thousands of citizens have been killed with chemical weapons, and many foreign powers getting involved has left chaos for many inhabitants. Only a third of the inhabitants have been unaffected, showing how widespread the problem is. Almost a third of the 22 million residents have been relocated as refugees to other countries. The 6.2 million refugees have been moved into many different countries, Turkey being the main, easily taking in half of them. 6 million people with no home to go back to, and being forced to leave their very own country because of civil war. One of these countries to accept refugees was Canada, with counts from 2 years ago showing over 40,000 being properly settled. And this is where our story fits in. 2016 is in motion, and Canadian furs are making their annual migration to the popular convention VancouFur. Located in, you guessed it, Vancouver. 810 were arriving to meet for the convention's 5th year, dressed in an underwater Atlantis theme this time around. A few different figures were chosen to be guests of honor, and a special cake was even made by one of the staff's mothers for the guest of honor dinner. Things were shaping up to be a great year for the small con. Little did anyone know what was going to be coming their way. During the lead up to the convention, a weird and somewhat concerning fact was spread around. A batch of Syrian refugees were assigned to the same hotel where the convention was being held. There were concerns from many about how exactly the fragile refugees would handle seeing 6 feet bipedal animals walking around. Many were afraid it would be a bit of an abrupt culture shock, as furries admittedly can be a strange subculture. Twitter went insane, and attendees, especially the 170 fursuiters, were told to be careful around the refugees. What ended up happening, though, was something amazing. The kids loved it, and even the adults became interested. Videos and images of kids dancing and hanging around with the fursuiters blew up everywhere, as did this news story. It actually was a pleasant distraction from the nightmares they were enduring. It was even described as cartoons coming to life for them. In the end, it turned out to be a pleasant experience for everyone. A bit of an unorthodox welcome to the region of the world, but a wholesome and entertaining one at that. Well, that was the story of the day Syrian refugees wound up at VancouFur. People fleeing a war-torn country wound up in the midst of a silly subculture, and it wound up being a good time for all parties involved. It's not every day things like this happen, and it can be seen as a real highlight for the community. Anyway, I'll see you all next time. Coming up soon is a video that takes place in the fandom's online roots from 1990 to 1998. It's called From Birth to Burned Fur. And after that, I have a very, very important video about the rise and fall, or vice versa, depending on how you look at it, of Amino. Take a look at my old videos. I recently did a restructure on my homepage so it's easier to get around. Until then, stay possum.